Nice to see you.
Hey, Yvonne, good to see you.
We're going to have a little chit chat today, aren't we? We're going to chat about how providing consistent content is really important for good public relations and content for marketing as well.
Mhm.
So it's this chat that I'm becoming more and more obsessed with now with GEO searches and SEO searches. I think we're all becoming very aware of trying to produce really, really good content that sticks, producing it over time that is going to work on multi-platforms and actually making sure that you're not kind of killing yourself by producing tons and tons of content, but actually producing a really, really good piece of content that you can use over different multi-platforms and over time. So, Joe, you have been at Bora for quite a while now, haven't you? Which is obviously a content machine. Actually, maybe just very quickly, because I think people probably know me, but I'm not sure they know you or what Bora does. Maybe just give us a 30-second top line on what you guys do at Bora.
Sure. But we're a cybersecurity marketing agency.
Hmm.
We only do marketing and we only work with cybersecurity companies. And primarily we're helping our clients write like high level thought leadership. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. So we dovetail quite nicely, don't we, with Eskenzi kind of
Mhm.
taking content and repurposing it and getting it actually out there in publications. And
Mhm.
you're actually guys, when we both produce good content, but we work quite nicely together, don't we? We've got some clients in common, which
Mhm.
is fab, where we actually use, we're always kind of like boosting and hoping that we can push out really original content.
Mhm.
So that's maybe the first thing. And we've got do's and don'ts for people as well to walk sort of like to go away with, because I think that's really important when you leave a webinar, you've got something good to talk about. So I
Mhm.
wanted to start with the first question, which is how should you go about writing content that your customers will trust and believe in? Because I know that, Joe, when we've had this conversation, you've always said trust is the ultimate. And in our industry, cybersecurity, it's got to be the ultimate, hasn't it?
It has. You speak to any senior sales leader, and it's the first thing they say. They understand it very well. Um, Trust takes a long time to build because to be trusted, you have to be trustworthy, which is the action. And trust takes a long time to build and it can leave very quickly. So, like tangibly, what does that mean? It means you can't really shortcut your way to creating good content. I think people have tried over the last 2 years. The AI experiment, in my eyes, it has started. It's run its course, and I think people are now starting to realize that it's not the thing that we were promised. Certainly not from a content perspective. I'm going to put my flag in the sand, and that's my position.
Okay.
Um, in terms of like, what do you have to do to be trustworthy when you're creating
Mhm.
content?
Mm.
You have to listen to people. You have to talk to people. You have to listen to them and understand what they're saying. Again, like what any good salesperson would do. And sales is just a value exchange. And if you can work out what the value is on one side, you can price it on the other side and you make that value exchange.
Mm.
Marketing obviously comes before sales in most situations. So in terms of like the things that you can be asking your customers, your prospects, the people in your community, is understanding what typically causes them to start the search for software. What are the situations that they find themselves in that trigger their search for software? Because we work in software mainly with cybersecurity, or sometimes with services. But what triggers those buying situations? They're known as category entry points, and some very good research was done 10, 15 years ago on category entry points and defining what they are, how they fit into the equation. And understanding these things, that's for me, that's the key. Understanding what is the trigger, the situation, and the emotions attached to those situations that fire that you can talk about, that you can understand, that you can empathize with. and that you can then contribute to that conversation.
So it all comes down to something that's going to trigger it and that they're going to trust you with. So we've got to be the originators, haven't we, on behalf of our clients or alongside our clients. That's got to be, we've got to be the ones, we've all got to be the ones who are the originators, the ones that everything begins from, so that we become the quotable force, that we're not the regurgitators, we are the originators.
Yeah, and it's the bar in cybersecurity marketing, it's not high. So like you don't have to dig too far to actually generate some really good original thoughts and really good stories that can be told. You ask most people for a list of their category entry points, and they might be able to give you one. It's the one that everyone leans on in cybersecurity. It's the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, data breach. You've had a data breach, therefore you need some cybersecurity. It's one category entry point in a list of maybe 10 or 15 for most companies. And to do that research, to sort of understand what are these situations that your clients, sorry, that your customers find themselves in, that cause them to start the search, cause them to start the shortlist, cause them to hit the demo button for you. That can be really valuable. And having that conversation like that's the conversations we have with our clients to understand this.
So, so what you're really saying is, which is absolutely right, is actually make sure you talk the whole time. I always talk about it, talking to our clients at the coal face, and
Mm,
talking to the actual people at the coal face, which
mm.
is always what we've done. I've got off my backside often and talked to when my clients have said, well, we're going to go meet a customer. I've can I come and meet that customer with you? Because I want to talk
Mm.
about their pain points. I want to know what floats their boat. I want to know what
Mm,
is actually happening on every single day to them.
mm.
If we don't get off our backsides and do that, we'll never really know. And that's where you get to the nub of it all, right?
Yeah, talking and listening. And there are several professions that can ask questions really well and then listen for the answers. Like a good journalist can do it. A good therapist can do it. A good barrister can do it. These are the types of like archetypes and personalities that just have this like knack of asking the right questions to tease out that information and then listening to what the person is saying. Now, if you can attach that information to the feeling, to the emotion, then you have the basis for a very good story. You can start constructing something based on that.
And we've always talked in journalism and PR, you always talk about a
Hmm.
hook for a good story.
Hmm.
So we need to all find that hook. And that hook means that, right, we've got to find that hook. We've got to go out and you need to talk to multiple customers and right across and internally and your sales guys. You need to
Hmm.
find out what is actually kind of what is that hook. And
Hmm.
it may take some while, but once you've found it, then you've got then you can start to write the content and get going with it, right?
You do. And I have a list that I always put in front of the team at Bora. It's whenever I'm working with a client, I put it in front of them as well. And it's 5 points. Sorry, 6 points, but we talked about the first one. Find your category entry points, understand them, nail them. Then find the hidden, unspoken problems your audience is struggling with. Notice things that others don't.
Always.
Tap into primal human desires, convey feelings with intent, and then find angles that demand attention. Now, this is not my list. I saw it written on LinkedIn. I love it. I think the originator was a lady called Justina. But I love it. And it just for me, it speaks to like if you pick up a high quality piece of journalism or a high quality story, this is what's been done. And let's not get away from the fact that that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to tell really good, compelling stories. A compelling story is interesting and useful.
I've written that down because of my
Mm.
question too. I was going to my next question: what makes good content?
Mm.
What makes good content? How do we make content that's going to be sticky and interesting?
Mm.
And it has got to be something. It can't you can't be selling. You're
Nope.
having to be topical and
Hmm.
relevant and informing is really important. And and you want to lead by example, and
Hmm.
you want to be coming up with the thought, you want to be the originators, you need to be the experts.
Hmm.
So everything comes from that.
Mhm.
coming up with really good data points, really good kind of research points, and backing everything up when you can in our industry with data.
Data's one way to do it. Like AI can't produce original data. So if you have access to original data, and software companies generally have access to lots of data, that's one way to do it. Then the other thing AI can't do is give an opinion,
Yeah,
and it can't attach that opinion to a face or personality.
no.
So original data, original opinions. Right now, that's the type of thing that's going to build trust in these communities. And you talk about being sticky, like and with like how do we tie that to building trust in in like the age where everyone has access to the same knowledge and it's been like leveled as a playing field. It's no longer an advantage because we all can just type and get the answer. Um, where in your case CISOs, in our case CMOs, where are these people going? Where are they going to get advice? Where are they going to get information? Where are they going for an opinion that they trust? Um, yeah.
Well, that's actually why it's very, very important to produce a really, really good piece of content that you can repurpose and reposition in multiple touch places. Because I think what we've all found is that, I mean, when I first started, I only had to deal with journalists. It was
Mhm.
easy. I would send out, well, it wasn't easy. It wasn't even, I can't say it was easy, but you'd produce a good piece of content and then you would write that content up and then you would sell it into the journalist community. And
Mhm.
then if they thought it was good and it was working, that was my target. That's all I had to do.
Mhm.
Now it's like huge because I can produce one piece of content. I don't have to just sell it to journalists. I've now got bloggers, I've got influencers, I've got YouTubes, I've got people's own websites,
Mhm.
I've got we can do so much. I've got to speak to the analysts,
Mhm.
and then as you've got to speak to your own, and then you've got all the social media stuff. I've got to talk to my, in a company, you've got your own audience that you somehow have to influence as well. There are so many touch points, and people absorb information in so many different ways, don't they? I was
Mhm.
thinking about this before I did this. I was thinking about what we can talk about, Joe, and I kind of was thinking, well, I spend now, I wish I really don't admit this, but I've recently kind of spent a lot more time looking at Instagram. And weirdly, I've gone back to looking at Facebook. Um, and then, other people may be looking for their information on YouTube. Or, I know that a lot of the CISOs are looking at a lot of the information on their own WhatsApp channels. So
Mhm.
suddenly there's like maybe 25, 30 different ways that we can get in front of people, but we don't all go and absorb information in the same way. It's either long form, it's short form, and that's thing. So we really have to try and work out. It's not just one way anymore. It's multiple ways, isn't it? That we have to try and get hold of
It,
people.
it is, and like that's not going to be new to anyone listening. The thing that's changed for me over the last 2 years, and this like the subtle difference that people may not have noticed, is that in the past, before AI search tools, you could get away with distributing content from one or two people as like evangelists in the company, as the face of the company. You could certainly get away with it as distributing it from a brand account. You can't do that anymore because the AI tools are not just looking to the website, and they're not just looking to one or two internal personalities or influencers. They're looking for a range of opinions from a range of people. So yes, multi-channel distribution is still important, but for me, what's important now is like own voice evangelization, having other people, multiple people talking about your brand in their voice across different places. And that's the subtle difference for me. You still want to distribute across multiple channels, but you want multiple people distributing across multiple channels because AI is looking for things like who is saying it, where are they saying it, how are they saying it, sentiment analysis, and it's pulling all these things together to give people answers. And unless you now have like, it used to be one or two people you get away with, and the brand account, it now has to be three, four, five, six, seven, as many people as you can have evangelizing in their own voice and relating that to your organization, to your company, to your solution. That's what's winning the sort of fight for attention in the AI tools at the moment.
Yeah, that's if we're all depending on the AI tools as well. I agree with you.
Mhm.
Um, so let's talk about using that content for paid content now, because our job's always been to get our clients earned content. So it's got to be stuff that everybody's going to want to take because it's original, it's interesting, it's informative, it's newsworthy. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
expertise, it's thought leadership. Um, and we are certainly seeing a massive change, aren't we? Well, I'm now being asked by my clients to actually look at earned content opportunities now, which they were doing 30 years ago. And it's come full circle, which is kind of weird, but it's still the content. So, you know, what do you have you? I mean, obviously we're seeing the same things, but what are you writing content now at Bora very much for paid content?
But for me, the old model, the old peso model, paid and um, get the other two, social and the last one. For me, the model's converging. For me, it's no longer we need like an equal distribution of paid and social and what was the last one?
It'll come to me in a
Yeah,
minute.
it comes with. For me, it's not like you're not trying to balance the the 4 points anymore. For me, they're converging, and it goes back to that having people evangelize about your product, about your solution, about your talking points in their voice, because it is a combination. You are going to have to pay publications. You might, in some cases, have to pay influencers, but at the same time, they're not going to put their reputation and their names to to topics that are not worth talking about. So you're going to have to earn that. And if it's good enough, it is going to be picked up and reposted. So it's a combination. I think we have to think more, I don't know what the word is, like holistically, but it's not about trying to balance each part of the model. It's about using the resources you have, the people you have access to, forging these relationships, forging these sort of trusted voices to come and speak with you and for you. Because you were touching on it before, like a lot of CISOs and CMOs and senior decision makers, they're in these closed groups. They're in the dark funnel, they're in WhatsApp groups, they're in Slack communities. Marketers are never going to penetrate these communities. But if you are forging relationships with people in these communities, if you're contributing to the conversations without disrupting the community, that's a really good place to be in. Support the community without disturbing the community. And we can do that because we're marketers. We have access to the product people. We have access to data. We have access to people who are going to give good opinions. We have access to interesting people. And we can pull these things from them. We can tease them out, asking the right questions, contribute to the conversation that's going on, inject the content into the community, and then take a step back. No one needs to sell to anyone.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I do feel that we are living in a world of the wild, wild west, though. I mean, it does feel a little bit like it's chaos out there. Whenever I talk to somebody at the moment, they're kind of going, well, we put a bit of money into this, we put a bit of money into that. And no one really, it's like skating on ice. I never know, you know, whether no one's really found the kind of like the golden chalice at the moment of what they, I mean, when I think back and we used to know what we were doing, but
Mm,
now I think it's really changed a lot. So I think we need to be having the discussions with everybody. I know if we go down that whole, is it AEO? Is it GEO? What is the jargon that's working at the moment? Are you doing well in digital marketing? What are you doing about these jargonese that drive me mad? Um, I mean, I know we discussed it once before, didn't we? All the different all the stupid words that everybody's using that I think probably all mean exactly the same.
I think they're all like formed with good intent. And I do agree with you. There's way too much jargon. And like every 2 or 3 years, the hot topic is something else. Right now it's AEO, GEO. 2 or 3 years ago, it was demand gen. Before that, it was newsroom marketing. Before and like the list goes on and on. But
I never ever heard of newsroom marketing.
I
That's
do
new, new to me.
not.
That must have
Yeah.
passed me by. Whoop, I never knew that one.
Yeah. I mean, SAS has a funny way of like wanting to engineer its way out of every problem. And but the point we're highlighting here is that you can't get away from the fact that you've got to have real conversations with people. You've got to build trust. You've got to contribute to these conversations in a genuine way without trying to sell too quickly or with too much force. And if you do that, people are going to respect you. You're going to build that trust. And when the situation arises that they need a service or a product, you're going to be at the top of their mind because you've implanted these memories. For me, Mark, the best phrase I ever heard about marketing was marketing makes memories and memories make money. Marketing makes memories and memories make money. And our job as marketers and PR professionals and content producers is to implant memories into the minds of our future buyers. It's like SEO and GEO for the brain. When someone has a problem, they need to associate your business with their problem.
They do
And like,
forget. Do you not think, though, that people forget very, very quickly, which is why
they
you need
do.
to be I mean, which is why this webinar's name was always consistently having to do
Mhm.
things, because you can't shut up for a minute because people forget about you. I have been to so many events where, and you would think they would know us because we've been around like for God knows how many, well, it says it up there, it says it there, doesn't it? 30 years. We've been around a hell of a long time. So you would think that people would know us with kind of like, however, people go, oh my God, we just took on a PR agency. We didn't even know about you. We forgot about you. And I go, how
Mm.
the hell could you forget about us? So you do need to be sort of front of mind, as which is why this consistently producing good information and content is absolutely imperative. Otherwise, people have forgotten. So I hear what you're saying, Joe. It's got to be like, yeah, that was the back of they produce something good. They produce something good. They're doing
Mm.
something good in the industry. But at the end of the day, it's got to be constant. What do they say about the funnel? That you've got to touch somebody 8 times before they actually come.
I think
You don't
that's
believe that?
no, I don't. I think that was a little bit of a junk science experiment that like it got picked up in
Oh,
uh, a, a publication, like a well-known
okay.
publication,
So
and it just grew legs and kept running. Because like
I'll fire Neil. I'll fire Neil in that case. It's
well,
not
no,
that.
it's like I'm not saying like don't look at the data because you absolutely should look at the data and touch points are important. But I think what a lot of people miss is they think it's like a linear equation. 5 touch points equals 50% likely to hit the demo button, 10 touch points equals 75% likely to hit the demo button. That's never the case. You need like comparative analysis because you might find that the more blogs that people read that you produce, they become less convinced that you're the right person to do business with. So
Yeah.
it's it's like understanding data in that sense is really important, and a lot of marketers have not been trained in data to think like that. But on the consistency thing, I have a question. How long is too long, and what is not long enough when we're talking about consistency and message and topic selection?
I think you've got to be, well, consistently, and how long. I think if you really want to be dynamic and recognized in the industry, you've got to be talking all the time, right? And you've got to be producing new content that's good. I think all the time, Joe. I think you've got to be producing good stuff. I mean, this is why it says consistent, it's got to be consistent. I always call it feeding the dragon. You've got to feed that dragon as often as you possibly can. You shove as much meat into the dragon's mouth to make it fire it up and burn all, because it burns the stuff so quickly. And I think you have to try as many things as you can. So our jobs as marketeers and PR people is trying stuff all the time, new things all the time, speaking to people all the time, speaking to your peers, your colleagues, be in the forums, look what people are saying, just talk the whole time and see what's working for others.
Mm. In terms of, so my old boss used to say something, and it stuck with me, and it's something I have in mind when I'm advising clients now.
And he was a lovely boss.
He was a great guy. He's still around. He's not. He's
I
not.
know, no, I know he is. I know. I
Yeah,
bumped
most
into
people
him all
do.
the time. No,
Most
he's
people
just a
do.
good guy.
Yeah. Most people do. So he said, when people are bored of hearing you, they're only just, no, when you think people are bored of hearing you, they're only just starting to hear you. When you think people are bored of hearing you, they're only just starting to hear you. So it might seem to you, to like yourself, your team, to the CEO, that you're saying the same thing too often. I promise you, you're not. I promise you, by the time that you are bored of hearing about it and seeing it and reading it, your customers, your clients, they're only just starting to pick it up for the first time.
That's
Like,
so interesting, isn't it? But that's very, I think that could be also quite an English thing, don't you think? I mean, I hate asking people for anything. It's just not in my DNA. And yeah, I'm quite pushy if I'm honest, but I don't like asking people for anything.
mm,
And maybe it's because I bet you anything if and I'm sure there'll be some people that listen to this from my American colleagues and clients, but they're a very different breed to us, and they certainly don't mind talking, banging on people's doors lots of times. Where I wonder whether we're very different here in the UK.
possibly, but like you look at the B2C world, and B2C understands this better than anyone. They
Yeah.
certainly, like B2C marketers understand this better than SaaS marketers in B2B. The Coca-Cola advert for me is the sort of the pinnacle of this. The Christmas advert that Coca-Cola runs every Christmas. It's the same advert because they understand that people buy large bottles of Coca-Cola at Christmas for their families. And that's their category entry point, by the way. That's the Christmas is a category entry point for people buying large bottles of Coca-Cola. And they understand that. And so they run the same advert every year. They have done for 25, 30 years, however old that advert is. And some people probably never seen that advert. And they're going to see it for the first time this year. And Coca-Cola are probably like, oh, running this advert again. No, they're not thinking like that because they've got a category entry point that works. They're relating it to something and they're putting that content out there. How does that apply in B2B world? For me, that means this sort of overarching message of a campaign. 6 months for me would be like the bare minimum that I would be advising someone to run a campaign for. Like, don't run it less than 6 months because people are not going to hear you. They're not going to they're not going to have been exposed to the message enough for it to form a memory in their mind. And when you think about like the average, like how many times does an organization change a software solution? 3 to 5 years. It's a big, painful lift in the organization. And if you're only running a campaign for like 3 months, and you've got a great campaign, you've got a great message, you've got a great like hero asset, you've got influencers speaking for you, lots of people evangelizing you. But if it's too short, 3 months for me is too short. 6 months, probably like the bare minimum. Ideally, you want to go longer than that, a year, 2 years. That for me is consistency. And that's like the length of time that we should be running campaigns and saying the same thing.
So if we talk about our takeaways now, our do's and our don'ts of producing good content, I've got my little list, but I'd like to hear yours first.
For me, it's I think it's there's three things. Understand your category entry points or the category entry points of your customers and your clients. Create content that's interesting and useful. And don't jump around from topics too often. Run a
Okay.
campaign for at least 6 months, but
Okay.
ideally longer.
Okay. So my do's were kind of again the same as your understand what your customers' pain points are, which
Mhm.
is what we discussed, and really understand them, build their trust, build your trust with them, with content that's relevant and evocative and resonates, and that's
Mhm.
most important, valuable, because we're not going to be able to get away with any of this if they don't find it valuable,
Mm.
right? Um, and most important for us is understand who you're pitching to and actually really understand, we hear this the whole time. We can produce great content, but if it's going to the wrong audience, then they're not going to be interested in it, right? So we've got to really, really know our audiences.
Yeah, that's for me, that's like what you say, how you say it, who you say it to.
Who you say it
You,
to. Okay.
you can understand these three things. What are you saying? How are you saying it? So like tone of voice, is it punchy? Is it professional? Is it evocative? Is it like choose your approach? And then who are you saying it to? Because that determines the first two.
Yeah, and then we go right back to be the originators. You be the originators. You don't be the regurgitators, right? So
Mhm.
all of this about the do's is don't go out there and use. I was talking to a really good mate of mine who I've worked with for years. He's always been a client, but we're now mates.
Mhm.
And we were talking about how he and he works in a really, really big cybersecurity company. And we were
Mhm.
talking about how we're using AI in different ways. And he was going, "How are you using AI, Yvonne?" I was kind of going, "Well, you need to use I use AI very often to um, you may have a blank piece of paper and you get started, and then I want to go off and I want to do my stuff." Um, and he was saying, well, he dumps his ideas down, gets writing, and then gets AI to polish it, maybe. I think it's
Mhm.
really so we use AI in different ways. You've got the people that use it at the beginning, and you've got people that use it at the end. Maybe you've got people who use it the whole way, and then the ones that use it the whole way, then it's going to be a load of garbage. But we were
Mhm.
talking about how he sees these different people using it in different ways, which is incredible, and it is brilliant. If you've got blank piece of paper and you want to get going, that's
Mhm.
fab. And then you've got the people at the end that just polish it off. I think the most important thing with AI, which is what we were talking to Rob Wall the other day and Sam Sewell's another webinar, was making sure you do not lose your personality or your style or your own rhythm.
Mhm.
Because that's so key. That's what people are buying. Remember, we must always never forget people buy from people. And by using stuff and actually putting your content on, using with AI, you lose that, right?
Yeah, and this is the thing that I think a lot of people have fallen foul of. They they believe the promises of AI will save you time, it will save you money, it will save you headcount. They believed that and they bought into it. And then in the process, they sacrificed their personalities, their originality,
Exactly.
their ability to empathize, their ability to
Yep.
listen. And and you're right, like we're not like there was a shift before information was valuable. It was the information age. But now everyone has access to the same information because we all have a ChatGPT subscription. And so information is not the sort of advantage it used to be. What is? And for me, it's the ability to, like I said at the beginning, ask the right questions and take the approach a high-level barrister or a journalist or a therapist would. Ask the right questions, draw out the the emotions, the feelings, the unspoken problems, notice things that other people don't notice, and build that into a story. Um,
And
you can't do wrong.
don't increase your workloads either by constantly what you just now said. You don't need to come up with a campaign that, the whole time. Don't flip, the whole time. But,
No.
as soon as your CEO comes up with a new idea or your marketing person comes up, or you bump in you bumped, you sit next to somebody by the coffee machine and they've now come up with another idea. I've worked with tons of people like that who've kind of like on a whim turn everything on its head and you kind of go, no. And then, get these new CMOs that come on board, and then they kind of go, right, now we're changing the logo, we're changing the mark, we're changing the messaging, we're doing this and that. And you kind of go, why? Why? Because,
And yeah, I mean, brand refresh is a topic for another day. It's
yeah,
because you can, yeah. Like I think
okay.
people feel the need to act, and because it's easy, like you can show what you're doing.
Yeah,
But
of
to
course.
to leave things to bake, to leave things to compound, to
Yeah.
to leave things to do their job, that's difficult, and that takes courage, and not a lot of people do that.
Yeah. So there we go again, then, don't we? We started with consistency, didn't we?
Hmm.
Consistently coming up with consistent, good quality data and
Mhm.
content that is going to have a life that's going to kind of work across you're kind of going 6 months to a year, maybe it could be shorter, but don't flip, stick to it. If you come up with something, stick and stay on that path, right?
Yeah, be known for something.
Yeah.
Be known for something. Just have one thing that people understand and associate your company with, that they associate your product with. If you're a big like platform and you do lots of things, that might be two or three things, but really you've got one thing. Some people call it a mission statement, some people call it their values, some people call it like the why. But be known for one thing and really accentuate that in everything you do. Tie it to everything you do.
And be the originator, not the regurgitator.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you're using AI, you will be regurgitating. And yeah,
Okay.
we are.
Well, I hope we've actually come up with some good bits of information for people out there. Joe, we've come up with a little package, haven't we, for people if they want to use it, a summer package that between Bora and Eskenzi, you got if anyone's interested, we put a package together because it's actually all about producing again original content that Bora can produce, we can produce. We've come together to bring our expertise together to produce, I think, quite a lot of content and then original content. And then, Eskenzi can kind of do their kind of magic with sending it out for 3 months. I think that's what we said over like a little mini PR campaign. That
Mhm.
was what we were calling our summer package. So I think if anybody's interested in that, then just look us up, find us. Autumn package even. Even winter package. We're happy to. Bora and Eskenzi really like working together, and I think that there's a nice synergy. So if anyone's interested, they can look us up and contact me or Joe. Right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Lovely talking to you, to
Always.
Joe.
Always.
And yeah, we'll catch up soon. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining us.